I never thought I'd be the guy who had to sit there and listen to his own wife talk trash about him while everyone laughed. But there I was tucked away at the far end of a noisy restaurant table, swirling what was left of my drink, trying to act like I belonged in a moment I wanted no part of. Lauren, my wife, was in her element, laughing, joking, holding the room like she was born for it. That used to be something I loved about her, honestly. The way she lit up in social settings? I admired it. But tonight, it just made me feel small. The place buzzed with that low-level chaos, silverware clinking, wine glasses tapping, laughter rolling like waves. It had started out as just another night with her circle of friends. They weren't really mine, but I showed up because she asked me to. I wasn't saying much, just nodding along here and there, glancing at my phone every now and then, waiting for a reason to leave. Then I heard it, my name dropped into conversation like a punchline. "Ugh, don't even get me started on him," Lauren said, her voice laced with that fake annoyed tone she used when she wanted to get a laugh. "At this point, he's basically just my roommate." The table cracked up. Just like that, I wasn't her husband, I was a sitcom gag. I froze, blinked hard. My face didn't show a thing. I've gotten good at that, keeping it all inside, locking my real reaction behind a blank stare. "What do you mean?" one of her friends asked, grinning like this was some juicy secret. Lauren leaned in, eyes gleaming. "You know, we barely talk anymore. We don't do anything together. He's just there." More laughter. More effortless cruelty. I stared at the ice floating in my glass. It had melted down to a sad mix of watered-down whiskey. I told myself she was kidding. That this was just Lauren being sarcastic, hamming it up for her friends. But it wasn't just the words, it was the ease with which she said them. Like I wasn't even part of her life anymore. Like I was invisible. I looked at her, hoping to catch a flicker of guilt, some trace of remorse. Nothing. She was still grinning, still basking in the glow of their attention. And her friends? They didn't even flinch. That told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't the first time she'd thrown me under the bus for laughs. The weight of it hit me harder than I expected. My heart beat louder in my ears, slow and steady like a warning bell. A part of me wanted to walk out, flip the table, say something that would shut the whole thing down. But I didn't. I just sat there. Quiet. Watching the truth settle around me like dust. Lauren didn't respect me. Maybe she never had. But I knew right then it wasn't going to stay that way. I placed my glass down gently like it was breakable. I didn't say another word the rest of the night. And Lauren? She didn't even notice. But she would. That was the last time she'd get to make me feel like less. The ride home was dead silent. She was in a good mood, humming to herself, thumbing through her phone like the night had been a blast. Like she hadn't just ripped into me in front of a table full of people. Like she hadn't just erased me with a joke. I kept my eyes on the road, hands gripping the steering wheel a little too tightly. City lights passed us by in a blur, just color and noise smeared across the windshield. I didn't know what I was waiting for. Maybe for her to notice. To glance over and feel the tension. To ask what was wrong. Maybe even to say sorry not for the joke, but for how it landed. But she didn't. She was untouched. Untouched and unaware. And that hurt even more than what she'd said. By the time we pulled into the driveway, I knew one thing, the man she thought she could mock and ignore? He was done staying quiet. I finally broke the silence. "What was that?" I asked, voice low, steady. Lauren barely looked up from her phone. "What was what?" "The joke. At dinner." She blinked, then gave me this tired little eye roll like I was being ridiculous. "Oh, that? You're not seriously upset about that, are you?" I turned off the engine but stayed in the seat. I needed her to actually hear me. "So making me sound like some useless background character in your life, that's funny to you?" She let out a dramatic sigh, leaning her head back like I was some burden. "Oh my God, don't be so dramatic. It was just a joke." "A joke," I repeated, and the word felt like ash on my tongue. Like something that didn't belong in my mouth. "Yeah," she said with a shrug. "You're acting like I insulted your entire existence." I studied her face, looking begging for some flicker of guilt, some trace of understanding. But there was nothing. Just indifference. She was still scrolling through her notifications, half listening, like this was just another annoying moment she'd have to get through. And something inside me finally snapped. But not in anger. I wasn't mad anymore. I was just done. I thought about all the years I'd put in. All the times I showed up, stayed up, worked through things, tried harder. All for someone who could belittle me in public and then brush it off like it was a throwaway joke. I exhaled, nodded slowly. "All right," I said, opening the door. She didn't ask what I meant. She didn't follow me inside. She just didn't care. And if she didn't care, why should I? That night I didn't say another word. I took a shower, got into bed, and turned off the light without waiting for her. She didn't seem to notice. Just kept scrolling, sighed, then turned off her own lamp. No, good night. No, I'm sorry. Nothing. In that silence, something hit me hard. I'd spent years fighting for something she had already let go of. So I stopped. I stopped asking how her day was. Stopped starting conversations. Stopped caring. The next morning, I made my coffee without asking if she wanted any. Drank it alone, left for work without a word. Lauren didn't catch on at first. Maybe she thought I was sulking, waiting for her to toss me a bone so I'd snap out of it. Maybe she thought I'd bounce back, like always. She was wrong. The next few days, she started to notice. She'd toss me a casual request, "Hey, can you grab something from the store?" And I'd just shrug. Not rude, not resentful. Just detached. She'd go off about something at work, expecting me to chime in, offer comfort, be her emotional landing pad. But I didn't. I'd nod, keep my eyes on whatever I was doing. Not cruel. Just gone. No fights. No raised voices. Just absence. And then I saw it, that flicker. That tiny moment in her eyes where something shifted. Like maybe, just maybe, she realized something had changed. She wasn't laughing anymore. And she was starting to understand why. A week passed like that. A full week of silence and indifference. At first, she treated it like a phase, like I was pouting, waiting for her to fix it. But I wasn't. I wasn't mad. I just wasn't there anymore. I'd become a ghost in my own house, moving, breathing, but empty. She'd speak and I wouldn't even look up. Her sarcastic comments bounced off me like static. And still, no apology. Not even a hint of one. When she suggested dinner at my parents' place, I almost laughed. She had no idea what was coming. But I did. That night would make everything crystal clear. We pulled up just before sunset. My parents' house still smelled like love, warm food, family, comfort. Stuff I hadn't felt at home in a long time. Mom hugged us at the door. Dad gave me his usual solid handshake. They were good people. Always had been. They liked Lauren, always had. I wondered how long that would last. Dinner was normal. Small talk, catching up, food passed around. I gave short answers, just enough to keep things moving. Then Mom, ever gentle, ever hopeful, turned to Lauren and asked, "So, how are you two doing? Everything good?" And right then I knew. This was it. The moment the mask would crack. Lauren laughed, light and dismissive. "Oh, you know how it is," she said, twirling her fork like she was telling a harmless story. "He's just there." The words hit me like a rerun I hadn't asked to see. My chest tightened. But I didn't flinch. Mom's smile twitched. "What do you mean?" Lauren let out another giggle, nudging my arm like we were sharing some inside joke. "He's just off in his own little world lately. It's like I live with a roommate." The room fell quiet. Mom's expression dimmed. Dad slowly set his fork down. I sat motionless, letting the weight of her words fill the air. "But Lauren?" She kept talking, totally unaware of the silence swallowing the room. "I mean seriously," she said, laughing again. "It feels like I'm doing everything. Carrying this whole marriage on my back." He barely says 2 words these days. I could feel Mom's eyes on me. I looked up and there it was. She knew. She saw what I'd seen for years but never said out loud. She wasn't just looking at me with concern, she was looking at Lauren with disappointment. And Lauren had no clue. I wasn't hurt anymore. I wasn't mad. I was just done. So I smiled. A real smile. Not bitter. Not forced. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I looked her dead in the eye and said, "You're right." She blinked, caught off guard. "What?" "I have been distant," I said, my tone calm, even. She tilted her head, sensing something off. "I guess I just came to a realization," I continued, leaning back. "You don't want a husband." Her expression shifted. "What are you talking about?" "You want an audience," I said. "Someone to laugh at your jokes. Someone to play the fool so you can feel like the star." Her smile started to crack. "You don't want a partner, you want a roommate." "That's fine," I said, voice steady. "I can be that." The room went dead quiet. My parents didn't say a word, but I could feel the weight of their awareness. This was no longer a private moment. Lauren scoffed, but her tone had changed, nervous, brittle. "Oh, come on, you're blowing this out of proportion." "No," I replied. "I'm just done putting in more than I'm getting." She opened her mouth, then closed it. And there it was, fear. Real fear. She finally felt it. The difference in me. Dinner ended in a fog of tension. Lauren barely touched her food after that. She was quiet, probably running through a dozen fake scenarios in her head where this all worked out in her favor. She had no idea what was waiting for her. The drive home was suffocating. She sat stiff in the passenger seat, arms crossed like a kid refusing to speak. I didn't say a word either. I could still hear the way her laugh died the moment I pushed back. I could still see her eyes searching mine for the control she'd always assumed she had. But she wasn't apologizing. She wasn't even trying. I pulled into the driveway, cut the engine, and stayed there. Neither of us moved. The silence filled every inch of the car like it had a pulse. Then she scoffed, a sharp, dismissive sound. "This is ridiculous," she muttered. "You're being a child." I finally turned toward her. She still didn't get it. Still thought this was some temporary Cold War I'd eventually thaw out of. A tantrum. But this wasn't a phase. This was the end. I opened the car door, got out, and walked inside without saying another word. She followed, her footsteps quick and sharp behind me. "So that's it," she barked. "You're just going to sulk?" I didn't answer. I wasn't sulking. I was packing. I walked into our bedroom, opened the closet, pulled out my old suitcase. It hit the floor with a soft thud. I unzipped it, started folding clothes with methodical calm. Lauren froze behind me. "What are you doing?" Her voice had changed. Less annoyed. More unsure. "Packing." She let out a hollow laugh, one without any joy. "Oh, come on. Stop being so dramatic." I didn't stop. Shirts. Pants. Socks. Neatly folded. I didn't say a word. This time she didn't laugh. "Wait," she said, stepping closer. Her voice wavered. "You're not actually leaving." Still, I didn't speak. Because I was. I packed the essentials, clothes, toiletries, my documents, laptop. The bare bones of a new beginning. And she finally realized. This time I wasn't bluffing. I didn't take everything. Just what I needed. Just enough to send a message, one she couldn't ignore. "Okay," Lauren snapped, arms crossed. "You made your point. You're pissed. Now stop being stupid." That's when I finally looked at her. Really looked at her. And whatever she saw in my face, it shut her up cold. Because she got it. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't a performance. I wasn't trying to prove a point anymore. I was done. "Where are you even going?" she asked, her voice softer now. "Does it matter?" She glanced at the suitcase, then back at me. Her lips parted like she wanted to say something, anything, to stop me. But nothing came out. Maybe because she didn't know how. Maybe she never did. I zipped up the suitcase and walked past her. She didn't grab my arm. Didn't block the door. Didn't fight. And somehow that was worse than if she had. I picked up my keys, opened the front door, and just before I stepped out, she spoke. "You'll be back." She said it like it was gospel. Like she still held the script in her hands. Like she thought I was still the man who'd taken every insult with a forced smile and swallowed pride. I turned to her one last time. Gave her a small, tired smile. The kind of smile you give when you finally know the truth. "No," I said. "I won't." Then I closed the door behind me. That first night without me? She didn't call. Didn't text. She probably assumed I was at a buddy's place letting off steam. She figured I'd cooled down and come crawling back, tail between my legs. She didn't know the man she was waiting for didn't exist anymore. Day 2, things shifted. That morning, I pictured her walking into the kitchen, expecting to hear the coffee maker, the rustle of a newspaper, maybe even the sound of my footsteps upstairs. But the house was quiet. Too quiet. Still, she didn't reach out. She probably told herself I needed space. That I'd come back. She was still wrong. Day 3, she finally caved. I got a text. "Where are you?" Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Can we talk?" Not, "I miss you." Just a bland question, like I was something she misplaced. Like I was a set of keys, not a human being. I left it on read. Because it wasn't me she missed, it was what I did for her. What I made easier. And I wasn't going back to that. Day 5, things got real. That's when she called. No text first. No warning. I let it ring. No voicemail. No follow-up. Just silence. And for once, she was the one sitting in it. Day 7, the wait set in. A full week had passed. No calls returned. No messages sent. Just absence. By now she'd noticed. The house felt colder. The rooms felt bigger. She probably told herself at first that she enjoyed the space, freedom from the tension. But the trash hadn't been taken out. The fridge was empty. The laundry piled up. And worst of all, no one was there to hear her talk. No one to listen. No one to hold the space together. Because it had been me all along. And now? She was just alone in the mess she made. Day 10, it broke her. Late at night, I got a voicemail. Her voice was different. No edge. No attitude. Just small. Quiet. "Hey. I don't know if you'll even listen to this, but can we talk?" A pause. I think I messed up. That was the first time she said something real. But it came too late. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I hit delete. And as I lay back in my bed, in my new place, in my new life, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. The weight was gone. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurting. I just didn't care anymore. And the best part? She wasn't laughing anymore. 2 weeks. That's how long it took for Lauren to finally understand. Not just that I was gone, but that I wasn't coming back. I wasn't coming back. Not this time. Because this time she hadn't just lost an argument or pushed too far. She had lost me. For good. Day 14, desperation. I woke up to another voicemail. Her third. The first had been hesitant, like she wasn't sure if she should speak. The second? Defensive, more pride than regret. But this one cracked under its own weight. Her voice trembled. Please, just talk to me. I played it on speaker. Let the silence after her plea fill the room. There were no justifications this time. No gaslighting. No, you're overreacting. Just fear. Not fear of losing the relationship, fear of what came next. Fear of the emptiness. I didn't call her back. I didn't reply. This was the consequence she had earned. And now she had to live in it. That evening, a knock at the door. I already knew who it was. I waited. Made her stand out there for a bit, just long enough to make it real. When I finally opened the door, she looked nothing like the woman I had walked out on. No makeup. Hair pulled back carelessly. Dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept right in days. I leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. What do you want, Lauren? She flinched. No pet name. No familiarity. Just Lauren. And that one word shattered her. She tried to pull together a smile, weak, uncertain. Can we talk? I didn't move. We're talking. She sighed. Nervous. She swallowed, searching for the words. I don't know how to fix this. Fix this. Like it was a leaky faucet. I tilted my head. Why do you want to fix it? Her pause told me everything. Because deep down she didn't want us back. She wanted the convenience. The safety net. The version of me that kept forgiving. That never walked away. But that guy? He was gone. I get it now, she whispered. I stayed silent. Let her sit with the weight of it. She blinked hard. Her eyes shimmered. I could tell she was close to crying. But I didn't reach for her. That wasn't my job anymore. She let out a shaky breath. Is there any chance? Her voice was soft. Not demanding. Not cold. Just small. Like she already knew the answer. I studied her for a long second. Then finally said what I'd been holding for weeks. No. Her lips parted like she might protest, but she didn't. Because this time she understood. I gave a small nod. Take care, Lauren. And I closed the door. Not out of spite. Not to hurt her. But because it was time. 1 month later. I sat alone in a quiet coffee shop watching the world move past the window. Sipping my drink, I scrolled through my phone, not out of habit, but peace. I wasn't waiting for a message. I wasn't second-guessing myself. I wasn't walking on eggshells. For the first time in years. I was free. Lauren? She had become what she made me for so long, a background noise. A memory. A lesson. Her laughs, her digs, the careless way she dismissed me in front of others, it was all behind me. She thought she'd broken me. But I got the last laugh. Because I walked away with my dignity. And she? She was left with the silence, the same silence she once used to punish me. Only now she was the only one left to hear it.